WWE has a TKO problem. WWE has a huge TKO problem. How TKO ruined WWE. TKO is ruining WWE. How TKO ruined WWE. 8 ways TKO has ruined WWE. These are just some of the monolithic TKO slop takes from the lemmings in the wrestling media, the most uncreative media on Black Jesus' earth. Apparently, TKO is ruining WWE, which has the nerve to partner with corporate sponsors, thereby making more money for the company it bought for billions of dollars. TKO is ruining WWE takes are as common in the IWC as interchangeable Eurowhites like Kyle Fletcher are in AEW. He's out with injury right now, get well soon, but as the most replaceable pro wrestler on the planet, AEW will be just fine without him. It could be argued that TKO's corporate greed and casual interference in main event storylines has been a negative for WWE. But how is that any different from WWE itself building its brand on corporate sponsors and merchandising like Slim Jim, Wrestling Buddies, action figures, Taco Bell, 7-Eleven, Chef Boyardee, track phones, video games, and Stacker 2?
Stacker 2. It's like so the world's strongest fat burner.
Edge, how brutal is that? Christian, chicks go whack for the stack.
There's a near 40-minute video on YouTube right now about all the commercials and corporate sponsors in wrestling in the year 2000 alone. So all these complaints about WWE getting too corporate is like complaining about Dave Meltzer being too autistic. And today, we're going to talk about why TKO is nowhere near the scapegoat that the wrestling media slop channels want you to think they are, and why the TKO era has, in fact, been a net positive in its short but powerful partnership with WWE. Subscribe in Swahili.
Liberty Land, Liberty Land, wonderful, wonderful Liberty Land, Liberty Land. It's the honey of the night, it's Honey Nut Cheerios.
Que ce soit pour le goût ou parce qu'elle se prend bien, avez-vous remarqué combien de vrais buveurs de bière choisissent la batte légère?
Ça se comprend, c'est une labatte.
Hey!
TKO Patrick pulled up to SmackDown as Randy Orton's mystery caller. Believe me, I was just as disappointed as you, the corporate PWB subscriber, but by no means did I take it out on TKO and the very corporate greed that was here before, during, and after Pat McAfee's reveal. Dave Meltzer, in his faulty reporting, blamed Ari Emanuel for getting involved. There's a narrative that WWE superstars backstage are frustrated with the TKO of it all. There's another concurrent narrative that WrestleMania tickets are too expensive, and that's why it's not sold out. This all led to CM Punk cutting a convenient worked shoot promo on Ari Emanuel, TKO, and The Rock. He demanded that TKO lower the ticket prices, and the very next day, what do you know? TKO lowered the ticket prices. What a strange coincidence. Funny how WWE fed the wrestling media all these storylines about backstage unrest, only for Cousin Phil to address these quote-unquote frustrations in a carefully crafted, worked shoot promo. It's almost like WWE and TKO are playing the internet wrestling monolith like a fiddle.
Now I'm ready.
Don't count on Sprite to do anything but quench your thirst.
You see, WrestleMania tickets are moving slower, but this is just as much of a Las Vegas problem as it is a WWE problem. Las Vegas tourism is at its lowest since the pandemic. Several YouTube channels like Patrick CC and Video Classics have done deep dives into the decline of Vegas, which has been overtaken by corporate overlords. Two companies own most of the hotel chains, which means higher prices, higher resort fees, longer wait times, and $14 for bottled water. Hashtag corporate greed did to Las Vegas what Tony Khan tried to do to pro wrestling when he attempted to buy WWE and stage a monopoly. The only difference is that Vegas is run by corporate overlords and Tony Khan is a corporate edgelord. WWE didn't even want to go back to Vegas. They were supposed to go to New Orleans, and high ticket prices or not, they would have sold out the Superdome. WWE pivoted to Vegas after Vegas paid WWE millions of dollars to come back because Vegas needs WWE tourism more than WWE needs them. We'll be back after these messages. Despite a bad rating on Cage Match, a website with a target demo of adult males tracked by the FBI, SmackDown exploded with 1.5 million viewers over the 3-hour broadcast. even with high ticket prices, which is a valid complaint. SmackDown moved almost 12,000 tickets in a St. Louis sellout. 3 days later, Raw moved almost 13,000 tickets for a red-hot Houston crowd. WrestleMania has already broken the all-time WrestleMania gate record. So if you're going to get mad at anything, it shouldn't be TKO, it should be the concept of supply and demand. WWE was a publicly traded Fortune 500 company long before they became property of TKO in the Wall Street slave trade. And nobody with a slop take is going to want to hear this, but WWE's decision to partner with TKO has been quite possibly its most lucrative business decision ever. It's also the decision that led to the eventual ouster of Vince McMahon, which helped WWE creatively for years. In fact, the reason it's so easy to get frustrated with WWE's product these days is because of the ridiculously high standards WWE set creatively in 2023 and 2024. All under TKO. In its 2025 earnings report, WWE raked in $1.7 billion, a $300 million increase from year to year, and over $200 million more than UFC. Now, this is not to say that TKO is perfect and absolved from blame when things go left. Quite the opposite in some cases. TKO has become a main character in the backstage WWE narrative, and nobody will admit this, but that's a good thing. It leads to more of the behind-the-scenes drama that inspires video commentary and dirt sheet articles about backstage politics. It's reality TV for men. There's literally a Netflix show all about it called WWE Unreal, and despite insisting they know better, wrestling fans gobble up the drama like fresh crack. Vince McMahon used to be the omnipotent ruler of WWE, but now that that's gone, more power is up for grabs than ever in the TKO era. The backstage corporate environment feels more like a cutthroat wrestling locker room where everybody's trying to either keep or steal their spot. Triple H has power, but Dwayne is always waiting in the wings, so could there be a coup? The WWE versus TKO narrative plays like an episode of Succession. They're too big to fail as an organization, and even when there are power struggles backstage, that'll just be an added layer of WWE content for the slop channels to snort like Tony does coke. Tony Montana, that is. We'll be right back.
フィニッシュホールドアントニオ猪木のひまわりナッツ
自然変更新発売
お腹がパワーの決め手だぞ雪印ローリーエース
ローリー飲んで10人引き
雪印ローリーエース
The Rock says, don't be a jabroni, eat your ravioli.
Let me ask you something. If The Rock came back and joined forces with Pat McAfee and Randy Orton amid all these Rock references on TV, motherfuckers would pop like Black Jesus came back for a cookout on Easter. Of course, if The Rock did come back, that would be a TKO call. I get it, Doomsday Slop and Downfall Slop are very popular throughout YouTube, but it's hard to take any of these crash outs seriously when the WWE TKO era is printing money. A few questionable creative decisions is not liable to ruin WWE in 2026 when ratings, dollars, and cents are all up for the foreseeable future. TKO offers a direct pipeline to Hollywood, so WWE superstars can go mainstream with the snap of a finger, which cumulatively makes WWE more mainstream as a whole. Tell me, in what way is that hurting the company?
I'd like to be a part of that Mount Rushmore of wrestlers turned actors like Batista, Cena, and The Rock.
I see myself doing kind of what Cena, Batista, and Rock did.
I would like to be the Tom Brady of professional wrestling. And as far as acting goes, when I look at the Mount Rushmore of like professional wrestling actors, you're talking about Dwayne The Rock Johnson, you're talking about Dave Batista, you're talking about John Cena. I want to be number 4.
There are 3 people on the Mount Rushmore of professional wrestlers turned actors. Dave Batista, The Rock, John Cena.
The same people who complain about ads in the ring will lecture you about, well, if wrestling was real, like MMA and boxing, ads would have been in the ring. New Japan Pro Wrestling runs through ring mat sponsors like Mike Vrabel was rumored to run through Diana Rossini. And I never heard these incels complain about that because A, New Japan is an incel company filled with internet darlings, and B, New Japan is ice cold business-wise and therefore too broke to benefit from corporate sponsors and all the criticism that comes with it. Not out of honor and dignity, but because them Japanese niggas is broke. And you can thank AEW for that.
AEW AEW and White Castle are bringing you the AEW Bacon Brawl Combo. White Castle is bringing the bacon, and we are bringing the brawl.
Tony Khan sucked the soul out of New Japan's business paws the same way he did ROH before buying them out of pure guilt. New Japan is down to Hiroshi Tanahashi as their president, for Christ's sakes. Where are all the TK Ruined New Japan videos? Or New Japan has a TK problem. Oh, that's right, I made one right here, I got you. Ads not being in a WWE ring was always a Vince McMahon call to protect the sanctity of the WWE ring mat, which probably smelled like feces and Janelle Grant anyway, so trust Vince McMahon's moral code at your own peril. We'll be right back.
Brand new custom conversion pickup. Tell them, Dream, tell them. $99.99. Custom conversion pickup right here. Stuyvesant Road, #1 in Florida, #1 in your heart, and #1 in custom vans, trucks, cars, motorcycles, BB guns, whatever it is, Jack, we're #1 in it. #1.
You can come to the factory right here in Georgia and get what you want to get for the littlest price of all.
All the eras that fans look upon fondly, like the Golden Era and the Attitude Era, coincided with an explosion in corporate partnerships. Why? Because when your product is hot, corporate sponsors want in. Ticket prices go up. Business explodes. This is a tale as old as time. Nobody wants to hear this, but WWE is listening to the market. Their product is hot, so tickets are more expensive, and the amount of people willing to buy them is higher. And when tickets aren't sold at such a high price, the market adjusts. TKO and corporate greed has no place in this narrative, because it is and always has been an overarching theme in the publicly traded business of WWE. It's simple economics pronounced as TKO. Meanwhile, Tony Khan and AEW are embarking on an ill-advised strategy of presenting AEW as an affordable alternative to WWE. They're the cheaper company where you too can watch Dynamite at a discount. But when the YNs outside of Target sell you expired candy bars at $1 each to help their basketball team, are you buying those Butterfingers? I didn't think so.
Crispity, crunchity, peanut buttery, Butterfinger candy bar. Have a Butterfinger blast.
AEW ratings have gone up, but not because they're cheaper and more affordable, but because their biggest and most important star, MJF, is back on top as world champion. And when his contract is up, AEW will need to break the bank to keep him. Believe me when I tell you that AEW's elevated costs to keep MJF will be passed on to its customers through higher ticket prices, assuming anybody will buy them. Because AEW marketing itself as a cheaper company has had zero effect on ticket advances. Nobody wants expired Butterfingers at $1 each. It's fascinating to me that so much of wrestling analysis centers around the wrestling business and drawing money. But when the business of wrestling gets so hot that ticket prices, corporate sponsors, and most importantly, wrestlers' salaries increase, it turns into TKO is ruining WWE by feeding all these families. That sounds like the cool thing to say, and it definitely is right now, but I've got one question. Is you niggas crazy? We'll be right back.
Collect all 4. Pizza.
I'll trade you these 3 for a Goldberg. Nope.
WrestleMania 42 is right around the corner, and for more on its biggest match, check out this video.
Step into a Slim Jim.